So the first video that we had on breaking patterns, number one was becoming aware of your pattern. Number two was taking responsibility for your patterns. Number three, this is video number 3. Well, this is about learning to respond in a different way. Well, I have a little formula. You plan, you do, and you review. So we got to plan out what we're going to do going into a situation or talking to somebody, and you know the pattern, you know your own pattern. Well, usually I shut down, or usually I run away from this situation, or usually I get overwhelmed, usually I get angry. So these are patterns they're not very nice, they're actually negative, right? So the second thing that I would say, so you plan out what I'm going to do differently. So if I'm angry, I'm going to choose peace. If I'm overwhelmed, I'm still going to choose peace. I'm not going to judge before I get in. So I'm going to reserve my emotional judgment before I get into a situation, because emotion is what really gets us into trouble, because we have a pattern of reacting. Reacting is just an emotion. Respond is to think about before you act, right? So before you go into a situation, what I would suggest you do is you plan out what are some of the choices, just like you go to a menu or restaurant, you have choices. See, overwhelm is a choice. Every emotion you have is a choice. You either could choose to do it or you choose not to do it. So you have all of those down and you're choosing. So you can write it down if you want to. So when you get into the situation, now in your mind you go, wait, I could choose to be patient or I could choose to be impatient. I could choose to judge or I could choose to react. I could choose to throw a fit. I could choose to gossip. I could choose to get angry, or I could choose to speak life. I could choose to have a better conversation, an encouragement conversation. I could choose to smile. I could choose to frown. You see, it's a choice. So when you get into that situation, if you plan out your choices before you get into the situation, you'll have your choices. The last thing you got to do is review. You must review what you do. In order to learn, we learn from our mistakes, right? The only way you learn from your mistake is to actually review it. So what I would say after a situation, let's just say you get into a situation, you blow up. You get into a situation or you shut down. You get into a situation and then you quit. Well, review that. Go back and say, did I do what I usually do? Because if I do, I got to choose next time. The great thing about a do-over is that's it. You do it over. You change, because you could choose to do it different next time. So that's what I want you to do. Remember, you plan it, you do it, and then you review it. Always do those 3 things. Next week, I really want you to do this. We're going to talk about something really important, which is letting go of the struggle, or the need to struggle. We all have a need. And sometimes that vicious pattern that's running our life, it's an unmet need we had as children, as a child in our childhood. And I'll show you guys what the needs, and I'll give you my own example. We'll see each other next time. Don't forget to subscribe. If this helped you, pass it on.